BioElec Engineering is a company created in 1988, which has been developing since then electronic equipment for medical and paramedical applications. Besides, it has been working on the development of biometric-based security systems for about 3 years. Biometric is the science which allows to identify a human person thanks to physical features such as palm prints, fingerprints, or iris. Our security systems are based on an advanced fingerprints technology which works with the blood flow and the capacitive effect of blood. So what does it mean? In concrete terms, it means that on our sensors we aren't going to look for the external image, that is the ridges that we can see on our fingers, but to look for the internal image, which is in fact a scan inside the finger at a depth of about 1 millimeter. This technique provides a higher security indeed. The external fingerprint that we can find everywhere, for example in glasses, cannot be reproduced. As far as our sensors are concerned, it is important to know that they are HF sensors, that is high frequency, which are made of both a pixel matrix and a frequency transmitter ring. This pixel matrix consists of 9216 points, which measure blood capacitive effect inside the finger. In other words, it seizes the frequency's resonance in the finger. There are numerous benefits to such a technology. For example, we don't care about external conditions as we are focusing on the inner finger. It means that whether your skin is dry, moist, dirty, or if you've cut yourself slightly, it won't influence the sensor as it concentrates on the inner finger, which doesn't change. Moreover, working with the blood flow, the sensor is able to determine if what is in front of it is a finger or not, and if it is living. It means that even if someone cuts your hand or your finger and places it on the sensor, if there's no blood flow, the sensor won't measure anything. Here is one of these sensors. As you can see, it is the only visible interface with the user. The sensor is connected to a card made up of an interface and a CPU card, which manage controls, analysis and processing, and signal sending. In fact, it analyzes the fingerprints, checks in the database if they belong to a user who is already stored, and if it is the case, it sends a signal to the engine management box. The latter will then send to the controls corresponding to the user category, that is, a normal user who is free to do all he wants with the car, or a limited one whose driving speed is limited. For the moment, BioElec engineering security systems are based on two main areas: vehicles access control and security developed in accordance with two main lines, and easy use and optimized security. In fact, our systems are very easy to use thanks to a unique programming system allowing to use, encode, log and delete all the parameters we can find in the system only with fingers. Consequently, you don't need any remote control, computers, badges, codes or anything but your fingers. Now let's see how to program easily the system the first time it is set in the vehicle. Once you have turned on the ignition switch, a small LED sequence will tell you that you are using the system in a car, and the two upper LEDs are going to light on. When it is done, you have to capture a fingerprint. In fact, you will have to capture two master fingers, which are going to be the system administrating fingers. Capturing a fingerprint is easy. You just have to press your finger 4 times on the scan, which is going to choose the best image. I press my finger, it validates it. I press my finger, it validates it. I press my finger, it validates it. And then the system confirms that the image has been captured and asks you for a second fingerprint. You just have to do the same thing with another finger, so that if you should injure yourself on one of these fingers, the other one could still program the system. Once your two master fingers or administrators are logged, you'll be able to carry out the process in the program. So now, I'm going to capture a first fingerprint. I just have to put my master finger. The system identifies it and validates it. And I can have access to the arborescent menu, which I just have to touch lightly to enter the various submenus. Here, I'm going from the first submenu to the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth ones, and back to the first one, which is logging a user. I validate it by holding my finger pressed on it. Then I enter a second submenu, also offering various possibilities. 1. Logging a normal user. 2. Logging a distressed normal user. Logging a limited user. Logging a distressed limited user. And logging the control opening my garage door. First, let's log a normal user. I validate, and then the system asks me to capture my fingerprint. So I press my finger 4 times, and the system confirms its capture. In this model, once the ignition switch is turned on, the system authenticates me and emits a sound signal. The LEDs light on successively, clockwise to inform me that I have been identified. The screen displays my user code and my vehicle starts. From now on, I am logged in and I can drive peacefully. Let's imagine that I have lent my car to a friend who is logged in with this number and that I don't want him to use my car anymore. It is very easy to delete him from the system. I just have to enter the menu to choose the option 3, which is the user deletion option, and to find this user's code in the list. The 2 LEDs on the left come on and I validate it. My order has been logged in and this user fingerprint is deleted. Once this is done, even if he has a second key cut, he won't be able to drive the car anymore. You may think it is hard to work with menus and submenus, but the system is delivered with a small card on which you can find all codes. For example, the first menu entitled Creation of Users and its submenus Normal, Distress Normal, Limited, Distress Limited, Garage, creation of an additional master finger, deletion of a user fingerprint, information about the system, initialization, and a service which is only available on Bioscan high-end products and which permits to limit the speed by connecting the fingerprint management card and the engine management one. If someone succeeded in having access to the first one, cut the wires, and replaced the card with one of his own containing his fingerprints, he could possibly drive my car. But here, both cards being connected by coded signals, the engine management card will only identify the fingerprints if they match with yours and if they come with this module. This leads to an optimum security and it becomes really hard to steal a car using the habitual techniques. Security in the vehicles is also increased as you can only see the sensor, and it is impossible for a thief, for example, to know where the controls are and to intervene on it or to exchange it with other ones. Moreover, it is possible to encode special fingers called alert or distress that you can put on the sensor in case of attack. Everything goes normally, but at the same time the system sends out by SMS, GPS or through another network a distress signal which is going to alert either an ordinary person or the police according to the application. To summarize, Bioelec Engineering is a research consultancy which adapts to clients' specification and develops both standard applications or very specific ones according to the client's needs.